All right, folks, on Tuesday this week, we learned how to use the Desmos calculator to solve multi-step equations. And so today what I want to do is show you how to use the Desmos calculator to solve multi-step inequalities. So problems that involve that less than or greater than symbol. All right, so over here, let me first of all give you a problem that we're going to work on. All right, so here we go. We're going to do 3x minus 7 times x plus 3 is less than a negative 13. Now, I'm sorry about this mess I made over here. That doesn't look very good. Let me erase and try to write that again so that that can actually be read. So this was supposed to be x plus 3. Okay, that looks better. All right, so now let's come over here to the Desmos calculator. All right, I'm going to click on Show Keypad, and I notice that my cursor appears up here. I'm going to type this problem in over here exactly the way that I see it. So I'm going to put in 3x minus 7 parentheses x plus 3 close parentheses, and then that is less than a negative 13. Now, when we did this on Tuesday with the equations, remember this vertical line was what we were interested in. And we looked for where that line crossed the x-axis. So notice that in the ordered pair that's pictured here, that x is equal to a negative 2 and that y is equal to 0. That negative 2 is the number that I'm interested in. So coming back over here to my answer, or to my problem, let me get you started on writing your answer. Okay, you want your x to go first, and then now we know from the calculator that the number that we want is a negative 2. Now, the only thing left for me to do is pick a symbol to go here in between those. Now, the symbols I can choose from are less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Now, real quickly here, the first thing I want you to note or to remember is that with these two symbols that are not underlined, that's where we used that open circle. Okay? And with these two symbols that are underlined, that's where we used our closed circle. Now, over here on your graph, what I want you to notice is you have this dotted line. A dotted line on this graph is like an open circle. So what that lets me know is it's not going to be that symbol, it's not going to be that symbol, it's going to be one of these two. So a dotted line is like an open circle and means that your inequality symbol should not be underlined. Now, how are we going to choose between less than and greater than? Well, that's where the shading is going to come into play. Okay, notice that from the vertical line, the shading over here goes to the right. So there's my negative 2. All of the numbers over here to the right of that negative 2 would be greater than negative 2. So I'm going to pick this symbol because that actually points to the right. So the solution for this problem should be x is greater than negative 2. So this point right here is going to give you your number. So we're going to use negative 2 in our answer. If this line is dotted, you don't underline the symbol. You use one of these two. And then you look at where the shading is. If the shading is to the right, you choose the symbol that points to the right. So that's why greater than is the symbol that we chose. All right, let's try another one. All right, this time let's do a negative 2x plus 6 is greater than or equal to 3x minus 34. I'm going to get ready for my answer down here. All right, so I come over here to my Desmos calculator and I show the keypad. And I'm going to type this problem in. So I'm going to type in negative 2x plus 6 is greater than or equal to 3x minus 34. All right, so I'm going to click right here. So when I come over here to write my answer, 8 is going to be my number. So I'm going to have x and then 8. And then I've got to choose an inequality symbol to put in here. Now, first of all, let's decide if that inequality symbol should point to the left or should point to the right. Well, here is my vertical line, and I know that the shading goes to the left. So I want an inequality symbol that points to the left. So I'm going to pick less than. Now, I need to know whether to underline that symbol or not. So I look at the line that's drawn over here on my graph, and I notice this time it is not dotted. It is solid. A solid line is like a closed circle and means that this should be underlined. So, to kind of emphasize this again, the shading tells me which way this should point. If the shading is going to the left side of the line, this should point left. If the shading is going to the right side of this line, then this symbol should point right. And then to decide whether to underline it or not, I look at the line drawn on the graph. If it's solid, I should underline. And if it's not solid, I should not underline. If it's dashed, I should not underline. So the correct solution to this problem would be x is less than or equal to 8. Now, to do this for real, we would have gone through our 5 steps and looked at it to see if it was a flipper. All right, so let's go on to this one. 5x minus x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 2x minus 4 times x minus 8. All right. Let's get ready for an answer. All right, I'm going to show my keypad and type this in exactly the way I see it. So 5x minus parentheses x minus 2. Don't know why that keeps popping up. Is greater than or equal to 2x. There it is again. Minus 4 parentheses x minus 8. All right, so let's come over here first and let's get our number. So we click on that point and it looks like our number is going to be a 5. So in my answer, I'm going to have an x that goes first and a 5 that goes last. Now I have to decide what symbol to put in here. Well, first, look at your shading. Here's your line. The shading is to the right side of that line. So you're going to want to pick the inequality symbol that points to the right, which is that greater than symbol. Now, I need to decide whether to underline that or not. So I go back to my graph and I look at my line. It is a solid line, not dotted. So solid means I underline. So solution for this problem should be x is greater than or equal to 5. So notice how I'm making each of those decisions about what I need to do. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. I just want to be sure I've shown you enough that you can figure out how to get these answers. So we're going to do 10 times x plus 4 is less than 8 minus, in parentheses, x plus 2. All right, let's show the keypad. And let's type it in. 10 parentheses, x plus 4, close parentheses, is less than 8 minus parentheses x plus 2, close parentheses. All right, so here's what we've got for this problem. Oh, wait, I just realized I copied this problem wrong. Let me come back over and fix it. This was supposed to be 8x. So I'm going to come over here and change that to 8x. All right, so change that to 8x, and over here I've done the same thing. I've changed that to 8x. Now this time notice that I'm not seeing my line on my graph. We talked about this on Tuesday. When that happens, what you may need to do is zoom out, which is right here on this little minus sign. So I'm going to click that. I may do it one more time just so I can really see what's going on here. So now I can see my line, I can see my shading. I have to be able to see that to get my answer. So I click right here and I find out that my number is a negative 14. So I'm going to write an X, I'm going to write a negative 14, and I want you to notice I'm leaving space in the middle for my inequality sign. Now, should that inequality sign point left or should it point right? Well, when I look at my graph, what I can see is the shading is on the left. So my symbol needs to point left, which would be a less than. Now I need to decide whether to underline that or not. So I look back at my line, and when I see that it's dotted, when I see that it's dashed, that means no underlining here. So x is less than a negative 14 would be my solution. So if you type it in and you're not seeing the line and the shading that you need to see, then use this zoom out button until you can. Now I'm going to go ahead here and zoom back in, delete this one, and we're going to do one last one. So I want you to notice, you first get your number from the graph, and then you look at whether the shading is on the left or on the right to decide whether your symbol should point to the left or to the right. And then you look at the line to see if it's solid or dotted to decide whether to underline or not. Solid line, we underline. Dotted line, we don't. All right, so we're going to do one last one. Let's do negative 5 times x minus 6 is less than or equal to a negative 3 times x plus 7 plus x. All right, so over to my Desmos, I show my keypad and I type it in. So negative 5 parentheses x minus 6 close parentheses less than or equal to negative 3 parentheses x plus 7 close parentheses plus x. Now notice again I'm through typing, and notice I don't see my graph. So I am going to go ahead and hit this minus button right here to zoom out. And now I can see my line and my shading. So that's what I needed. All right, so first let's get our number. Looks like this time our number is 17. So I'm going to write my x and I'm going to write my 17. Now, time to decide about a symbol. Which side of the line is shaded? Now what I see is that the right side of my line is shaded. So I'm going to put my symbol in here pointing to the right. So greater than is going to be my symbol. Now, do I need to underline that greater than symbol? When I look at my line over here, I can see that he is solid. He is not a dotted line. So because he is solid, I do need to underline. So x is greater than or equal to 17. So type your problem in your calculator. First, get your number. Second, look at the shading. Which way does it go? If it goes left, use less than. If it goes right, use greater than. Okay? And then decide whether to underline that symbol. So decide whether to underline. If it is a solid line, we underline. If it's a dotted line, we don't. So that's how this goes. All right, so in your Schoology folder for week 12, Thursday, there is a set of problems for you to practice entering these and getting your answer. If you have any questions about this video or anything that I've said in it, then please email me and I will be happy to answer those. Get your work done today, and I look forward to getting those assignments and checking them.